My grandson asked me last Tuesday if I thought my life mattered. He is 17. We were sitting in my kitchen. He had come over to help me fix a drawer that kept sticking. He did not ask it the way you might expect. He was not looking for reassurance. He just said it, quiet, while he was working on the drawer. "Do you think your life mattered, Grandpa?" I am 85 years old. I have been thinking about that question for 5 days now. I told him I did not know. That was the truth. He looked surprised. I think he expected me to say yes, to tell him about accomplishments or contributions. But I am too old to pretend I have answers I do not have. What I do know is this: I remember small things, moments that did not seem important when they happened. And somehow those are the things that stayed. I remember my father teaching me to tie my shoes. I was 5. We were sitting on the front steps. He showed me 3 times. I still could not do it. He did not get frustrated. He just showed me again. I remember his hands, the way he moved the laces slowly so I could see. When my father died, I was 43. At his funeral, people talked about his work. He had been a carpenter, built houses. But what I thought about was those steps, his hands moving the laces, the patience in his voice. I do not think my father changed the world. I do not think he thought about legacy or impact. He showed up for work. He came home. He taught his son to tie his shoes. But I am 85, and I still think about him every time I choose. There was a woman who lived on our street when I was young, Mrs. Kowalski. She was old even then. She had a garden, tomatoes, peppers, herbs. In the summer, she would sit on her porch and watch the street. I walked past her house every day on my way home from school. She always said hello, always used my name. Sometimes she would ask me questions. How was school? What was I reading? Little things. One afternoon, I had failed a test. I was 12 and I felt like the world had ended. I walked home slowly, trying to figure out how to tell my mother. When I passed Mrs. Kowalski's house, she called out to me, asked how I was. I do not know why I told her, but I did. I told her about the test, about feeling stupid, about being afraid to go home. She did not tell me it would be okay. She did not give me advice. She just nodded. Then she said, "I failed a lot of tests when I was young. I still learned things." That was all. I went home. I told my mother it was not as bad as I thought. But what I remember is Mrs. Kowalski. The way she did not make me feel small. The way she let me know failing a test did not mean I was a failure. She died when I was 16. I barely thought about her after that. But now I am old, and I think about her often. She probably never knew that conversation mattered to me. It was just another afternoon for her. But it changed something. Some small weight lifted. I had a wife, Helen. We were married for 52 years. She died 7 years ago. Helen was not famous. She did not do anything that would make the news. She worked as a nurse for 30 years, came home tired, made dinner, read books, tended a small garden in our backyard. But she remembered people's names. She asked questions and actually listened to the answers. She sent birthday cards, real cards, handwritten. She never forgot. After she died, I found a box in the closet. It was full of letters, people thanking her. A man she worked with who said she made him feel less alone. A neighbor who said Helen noticed when she was struggling and brought over soup. A patient's daughter who said Helen held her mother's hand when she was dying. Helen never talked about these things, she just did them. Quietly, the way you might water a plant or wash a dish, like it was just what you do. I think about my grandson's question, did my life matter? I worked in an office for 40 years. I do not remember most of what I did there. I pushed papers. I went to meetings. I retired and they replaced me and the work continued. But I remember teaching my daughter to ride a bike. I remember holding the seat while she pedaled, the way she was scared at first, how she kept asking me not to let go. And then one day I did let go, and she kept riding. She did not even notice at first that I was not holding on anymore. She is 51 now. She probably does not remember learning to ride that bike. But I do. I remember her face when she realized she was doing it herself. The pride, the fear turning into something else. Was that important? I do not know, but it was real. I think we ask the wrong questions. We ask if our lives mattered, as if mattering is something large and measurable, as if it only counts if other people notice. But maybe mattering is smaller than that. Maybe it is just being present when someone needs you to be present, showing up, paying attention, seeing people. There is a young man who works at the grocery store near my house, Daniel. He is there most days. He always asks how I am doing. Not the automatic way, he actually wants to know. Last month I told him my back was hurting. The next week he saw me and asked if it was better. He remembered. It was a small thing, but I notice it. It makes the errand feel less lonely. I have no idea, but he is changing my small corner of it, making it easier. Kinder, my grandson, is 17. He is worried about his future, about making the right choices, about doing something significant. I wish I could tell him the secret, but I do not have one. All I have is what I have seen in 85 years. The things that mattered most were the smallest. A hand on my shoulder when I needed it. A conversation that lasted 3 minutes but stayed with me for decades, being forgiven, forgiving someone else. Watching the sun come through the window and actually seeing it. My father's hand showing me how to tie my shoes. Mrs. Kowalski not making me feel small. Helen's handwritten cards, teaching my daughter to ride a bike. Daniel asking about my back. None of these things are impressive. None of them would make a good story, but they are what I think about when I think about my life. Maybe that is the answer to my grandson's question. Not whether our lives matter in some grand sense, but whether we are here, really here with the people in front of us, in the moments we are given. I am 85. My hands shake. I forget things. I do not have much time left, but I am still here, still tying my shoes and thinking of my father, still grateful for Mrs. Kowalski, still missing Helen, still teaching when I can, still noticing when someone notices me. Maybe that is enough. Maybe it has to be. I do not know if my life mattered, but I was here. I saw things. I was seen. I tried to be kind more often than not. I failed sometimes. I showed up when I could. That is all I have. Small moments, ordinary days, people I loved, people who loved me, conversations, silences, hands moving slowly so a child could learn. A voice saying my name. I think about my grandson, 17 years old, worried about mattering. I want to tell him that he already does, not because of what he will achieve, but because he is here, because people see him, because he sees other people, because small moments add up to a life, and a life is not nothing. But I do not know if he would understand that yet. I did not understand it at 17. Maybe you have to be 85. Maybe you have to look back at all the years and see what actually stayed. What stayed were not the big things. What stayed were the small ones, the ones I almost missed, the ones I did not know mattered until later. So I told him the truth. But I knew that people mattered to me, that I was here, that I tried. He finished fixing the drawer. It opened smoothly. He smiled. We had tea. We talked about other things. Someday when he is old, he might remember this afternoon. His grandfather's kitchen, the drawer, the question he asked. Or maybe he will not. Either way, I was here. We were here together. That happened. It was real. Maybe that is what mattering means, not being remembered, just being here, really here. For as long as we have.